Live. Okay. So that took a while to process hitting the button to go live and then ending up live. So I was wondering when I would start talking. This is a great hook. Welcome to the video. So for those that don't know, my name's Rob and I'm in recovery from a gambling addiction. So if you're watching this on the replay, happy to have you here. Over the next hour, we're going to be discussing gambling addiction, addiction recovery, and I'm going to be taking questions from the audience, basically whatever you guys want to talk about. And so hopefully you can see your question answered. And if it hasn't been answered in the live stream, then feel free to drop it as a comment on the video. And I'm going to do my best to get back to as many as I can. But if you're here live, welcome. Please do me a favor and say something to me. Say hello. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully over the next hour, I'm able to answer some questions that you have about gambling addiction, as I made my last bet November the 12th, 2022. Now I make videos about it. So it's here on YouTube, over on Facebook, and the whole point is to help you avoid making the same mistakes with your life that I made with mine. What do I do with my time now? And you do belong here, my friend. I believe I've made that joke to you before based on your username. What do I do for fun now? Or rather, I guess, what do you do with my time? My time, I make a lot of videos. So I do this as my full-time job, is making content about gambling addiction. Yesterday, I did like a courthouse appearance in Colorado virtually to help testify for a bill to hopefully help gambling addicts in the state. I guess what it would boil down to is like awareness and advocacy work. And then for fun, I play the Pokemon video game because I'm a nerd. So that's always good stuff. What's up, my friend? Welcome to everyone in the chat. Let me know where you are from, and hopefully the conversation that we have tonight can be relevant to you guys. Welcome. Hello, everybody. Hello. Writing a movie script on gambling addiction and have seen many of the videos. Well, I can't wait to see the movie. Let me know when it comes out. I would love to watch it. The movies that I've seen about gambling and gambling addiction, I really have only seen a couple that I think were like even realistic or plausible. And I think that the ones that I thought were realistic were Owning Mahoney and Uncut Gems. Most of the rest of them are a little bit goofy, but hopefully yours is a banger. Fellow addict here, welcome, my friend. Had a blip in the end of January, cost you the girlfriend. I'm sorry to hear that, my friend. Today, I will not gamble. That's what it's all about. That's why the channel on this side is called One Day at a Time. I'm sorry to hear that you went through it. Hopefully things have been getting better ever since. But I know the feeling, right? When we're hooked to gambling, relationships become secondary. And we reach this point where, I mean, who would want to be in a relationship with someone that treats them as a second option, But hope that you're doing okay now, my friend. Was clean for 6.5 years and got a relapse 1.5 years ago. So I made a plan to gamble 100 euros per month. Well, I mean, if you were clean for 6.5 years, then you know that doing that plan is probably just an excuse, to be fair. But to each their own. Here on this channel, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to tell you what you have to do. But for someone that develops a gambling addiction, sticking to a budget just doesn't work, because eventually shit just kind of spirals out of control. But if you ever do reach the point that you want to stop fully, I hope that some of the content on this channel can be helpful. In the description, I have a video called How to Quit Gambling or How to Stop Gambling. Can't remember what title we settled on, but it lays out everything that I did to get and stay clean. And, hopefully what worked for me can work for someone else. That's the hope. From the Philippines, from New Zealand, formerly South Africa. Welcome, my friend. Congrats on 505 days. Let me know in the chat how long it's been since you placed your last bet, if you count days. And if not, then just ask me a question. But hopefully something about what I have been through can help you guys to avoid making the same mistakes. I'm afraid if I stop immediately, I will get a relapse. Then you need treatment. You need treatment, my friend. You need to go to group meetings, because the only way to actually get better is to stop completely. You're, by being scared of a relapse, you are now having a relapse every day. Like, it just doesn't link up. So if I miss anyone's question, please feel free to drop it again. They are coming in a little bit quick. I'm going to do my best to keep pace this time, because I find myself getting a couple minutes behind on my Yap sessions. Yep, 2 lives going on, one on the vertical, one on the horizontal, trying to reach as many people as possible, but it is one stream. Let's see. Awaiting the video to learn how to keep the cash away from you. I have a lot of videos on financial controls. So it's also included in the video that I was talking about earlier, the How to Stop Gambling. When I first quit gambling, I had my mom control my bank account, which felt pretty bad, but it made a pretty big difference. Don't know if you're remembering, but I came to you for help a while ago when I was 15. Now I'm 16, 350 days clean. Congratulations, my friend. That is dope. I really hope that, you can keep it going. And I have a lot of conversations, and of course, just based off the usernames, it's really difficult for me to remember everyone, but I do remember talking to some younger people, and I hope that it's been good. I hope that you've been getting better every day. I'm wondering if there's one theme. What do you think about gambling addiction, or word to describe it would be? One takeaway from a modern gambling addiction film. Um, I feel like you would want to focus on the things that people least understand about the addiction. And I think that something that's very misunderstood is, one of the most common questions that a gambling addict gets is why couldn't you just stop? And so the concept of like actually diving into what's going on in the brain of why can't someone with a gambling addiction just stop gambling? I think that would be useful as like a framing mechanism. Let's see. I've had a gambling problem for 32 years. I don't go a lot for the past year. My wife said sometimes wants to go for fun. I tell her no, she doesn't understand. It's tough when you're properly communicating what's going on and someone still doesn't understand. At that point, I would recommend your wife to look into the program called Gamanon, or try to get her to go to one meeting, because maybe bridging that gap in understanding can make a big difference in your life. When everyone's kind of aligned, working towards one goal, we find that the outcome is usually a lot better. So. In the end, the evil house always wins. Hey, it's fair enough. It is what it is, right? That's just kind of how it goes. Let's see. Your channel was my first hope around 2 years ago. I appreciate that, my friend. Found you at the end of March 2024 when it was really bad. I would say at the meetings, but my higher power was an algorithm. That's actually really cool. A lot of people think that they need to believe in a god to go to those kinds of meetings, right? A higher power. You need something. But what I view it as, and I just wrote a script on this, is something external to yourself that you can become a collective of. And so I know, like, being a part of a YouTube community isn't like, I'm waking up every day and we're talking one on one, but I do hope that anyone that's here feels like they're a part of the content. Every single comment, every single interaction, it does something to influence what we're going to create next year on the channel. And I'm really happy that you're doing well, my friend. You're not 350 days because of me. You're 350 days clean because of yourself. I like to be a part of people's journey and help them get on the right path. But any kind of sobriety time or anything that's good in your life, you did that. Don't give me credit for that. So if you're here, do me a favor to help us reach some more people. What I need you to do is leave a like on the video. So whether you're watching on YouTube or over on Facebook, leaving a like lets the algorithm know that more people should watch this video. And then more people means more questions, more answers. Last day was today, but I'm trying to quit. Well, welcome, my friend. There's 4 things that I focused on to quit gambling: finding alternative things to do with my time that meant something to me, limiting my access to money that was tempting me to gamble by having someone control my bank account. Third was self-excluding, making it more difficult to access the casino itself. And fourth was going to support group meetings filled with other people who were trying to stop gambling. That was Gamblers Anonymous for me. And GA meetings work for Prashant. Yeah, I think that it's useful. And it's not like you go to a meeting and you're cured or anything, but just finding a collective of people all trying to do the same thing, reach the same goal, it's valuable. Like, if you're a sports bettor, you probably have a group chat with some of your friends where you talk about sports betting, right? But if you're in recovery and you have a group chat where you're talking about recovery, if you go to a meeting every week where that's the topic, you're going to find that what you associate yourself with, what you're around the most, becomes your personality. And going to those meetings gives you this situation where, hey, you're working towards a worthwhile goal. You become the sum of your surroundings. If you're all working towards getting better, you're going to get better. Yeah. How did you feel when you spend more money than planned on vacation at early days in your recovery? And did you notice an urge to win it back through gambling? So I didn't spend more money than I planned in early recovery because I didn't really have any money. But I guess now more towards the present, when I spend too much, I try to just account for it in future budgets. No one's perfect, and that's okay. But this idea of an urge to try to get it all back from gambling, that's a sickness that you feel really early on in the addiction recovery process. That's not something you feel after a couple of months. You need to just remember that that urge is okay to exist as long as you don't act on it. And the reality is, all wins are future losses. So, say you went and you won that money back that you spent on the vacation. Well, then what are you going to do? Are you going to put it into a savings account and be happy, or are you going to keep gambling? And eventually, whether it's today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, you're going to lose it back and more. So it doesn't really matter. That's the truth. All wins are future losses. I'm in recovery and still haven't told anyone about it yet. Still debating whether to tell my mom or not. Nobody knows the extent of my debts, and it's become a very heavy burden. Who's the first person that I told? The first person that I told was my mom. And All of the recommendations that I say here tonight, they're as someone that's recovered, right? Recovering from gambling. Not a doctor, I'm not a family counselor. So take everything with a grain of salt. But I think that it's really important to rip the band-aid off and tell other people because then you become accountable to others. We try to do everything ourselves as the gambling addict. We try to think, I got this under control. I'll sort this out. And look where it's gotten us, right? When we rip that band-aid off and we tell someone else, even though it's super uncomfortable, even though it might make them upset, now we're accountable to that person. They're now looking at what we're doing. They're asking us how we're doing. And it might feel uncomfortable, but it's going to make a big difference in actually staying clean. So I highly recommend telling someone else, whether that's your mom or a counselor. It's up to you. But I really, really think it's like almost necessary to recovering. I don't want to gamble anymore as it has ruined my life. Mine as well, my friend. And I feel the exact same way. I spent 6 years gambling for an average of like 6 to 8 hours a day. I was constantly thinking about it. It was all I cared about. It was my entire life. And that was a miserable way to live. So I'm also not going to gamble again. But what have you tried doing so far to stop gambling if you're wanting to stop? Because I hear this a lot too. Like, oh, I tried everything to stop and nothing works. Well, what did you try? So let me know in the chat if you're struggling right now to stop. What have you tried doing to stop? Let me know. I'm so disgusted by the bombardment of gambling ads that we see all over the internet. It must be hell for people in recovery. Yeah, it's not great. I can tell you that. But really, at this point, for me, it's like gnats flying around. It's an annoyance rather than a temptation. But in early recovery, yeah, it's massive temptation. It just feels normal. Like, oh, if everyone else is doing it, if it's around all these other people, like, why can't I figure out how to do it normally? It's a very predatory system. And I think that it's going to take a bit of pain before something good happens in terms of the regulation. Like, they're making so much money and the industry is convincing everyone that it's just this small fraction of people that have a problem. So, they say, oh, we got to keep running these ads so we can keep making you guys tax revenue. It's aggressive and it's predatory. There's nothing else to say. It's not even like remotely justifiable, but they find a way to justify it. So while I'm waiting for some more questions to roll in, I'll do a couple plugs. Welcome. My name's Rob. I'm in recovery from a gambling addiction and made my last bet November the 12th, 2022. If it's your first time seeing me and you're someone that wants to stop gambling, consider subscribing to the channel. I put out content every single day with the aim of helping you to avoid going down the same path with your life that I went down with mine. Additionally, this channel is sponsored by Right Choice Recovery. It's a family-owned and operated treatment center specializing in gambling addiction recovery. Check them out in the description of this video as well. I really recommend working with them if you're looking for some one-on-one help to stop gambling. Whew, I talked a lot. My wife joined me in Gambling. She handles my money, and I don't mind about that. Life is so much better without gambling. Yeah, you got to do whatever you got to do, right, Prashant? It's like we come up with all these justifications in our heads, like, oh, I could never let someone manage my money. I need control. I can't do this, can't do that. But then once it happens and it doesn't really change anything practically about our lives, like we're like, oh, like it's nice to not have this giant pot of money that I can light on fire every time I get tempted to gamble. So checking out Gam-Anon, Gamblers Anonymous, these are groups that are going to help you and loved ones to recover through group meetings. This is dangerous one here, small fries. Let's talk about it. So, has anyone else found solace in watching gambling streams and seeing that everyone ultimately loses, or do you classify engaging with gambling at all as bad practice? Great question. It's not good to watch those streams. And I used to think like, oh man, it can't be that bad, and it's better than me actually losing my money. And sure, I'm sure that it is, practically, objectively better. But the problem is that when you're trying to stop gambling, your brain, what needs to happen in your brain is like a physical reaction. Your brain needs to readapt to the level of dopamine and pleasure that it had before the gambling. Because right now, the only thing that makes you feel alive is gambling itself. As you get time away from it, that baseline comes down, and then the normal things in life start to feel okay again. But if you're watching these streams, you're not allowing your brain to literally physically heal itself because you're living vicariously through the streamer. It might feel good to see them lose, but then you turn around and you see them win. What it is just a show. It's just entertainment for them, but they're using that to keep you hooked to gambling. So practically, it's not a good thing if you're in recovery to watch gambling content at all. It's just going to end up hurting you, to be fair. Let's see. Hey there, recovering gambling addicts. Just past 30 days. Congratulations, my friend. Been watching the videos daily. So thank you. And ask, what do you need help with in your mission with this channel? Beyond simply like and subscribe. I don't even have Patreon. Literally, like, I have an editing team, I have a consultant that I work with, we spend a lot of money to make the videos as good as possible. Literally, the only thing that I ask from people is just engaging with the content when they see it. If we continue to grow, then it's gonna reach a point where we might need to add more editors, more writers, more consultants, but at this point, it's the 3 of us, and we kinda got things on lock for now. So just being around the content, sharing it with those that you think need it, and just when you see a video, like watching it, like that's literally the best thing that you can do to help this channel grow. And I know it sounds like, oh, like how much could one person watching a video change the outcome of the channel? But if 10 people do it, if 100 people do it, it really starts to stack up. Do you ever dream about gambling? Those dreams can be really scary, not like Saw or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but a real unsettling horror. So I did in the beginning, right? And I used to have these dreams after I self-excluded, which for those that don't know, that's like banning yourself from casinos. I used to have these dreams that I was in a casino and then I got caught and they like arrested me for going in with a self-exclusion. But after about 6 months or so from the last day that I gambled, the dreams really fell off. And a lot of it is because of the work that I do. Like I don't think I see the temptations in the same way as many people because I see it from a marketing lens. I see these giant corporate greedy interests squeezing people for all they're worth, abusing us with constant commercials. Like the reason I'm not tempted to gamble is because I'm so sick of what the gambling industry stands for. If they were better people, I think it might be more difficult for me. But just being so pissed off with them, it's really helped me to stay away. So if you really want to stop gambling and stay away, just start learning about how the gambling industry squeezes people. It's awful. Let's see. Just getting into recovery in the next few days, gonna beat this mind control. What do you mean the next few days? Not right now. What do you mean? Let me know. And if you're in debt from gambling, I'm sorry to hear that. I was there too. The last day that I gambled, I put myself into debt for what would be the next 6 months working 2 jobs. Just know that trying to win it all back or trying to get out of debt from more gambling is not going to be the answer. It might feel like it because working a job, you earn the money so slow and life kind of sucks during that point. But if you try to do it with gambling, even if you get out of debt, you're going to end up in a worse debt eventually because you're not going to stop. All wins are future losses. Intermittent reinforcement as a manipulation tactic, it's what's built into all the slot machines. So basically, you win sometimes, and then there's smaller wins and there's big wins, and basically you're constantly on edge. It's the most it's the strongest conditioning form, I believe, out of all the conditioning forms. So from a scientific lens, it makes the games highly addictive. That's basically what it is. Of course, they're going to use it. Mm. What helped me stop was finally realizing that all my friends, strangers, people getting destroyed in the long run. Yeah, in the end, all wins are future losses. And that's really important to remember. You can win the bet, but not the bets. And if you keep going, eventually, whether it's today, tomorrow, next week, next month, the losses are going to catch up because that's just the math. Great job. Thank you, my friend. Really love all the content about recovery and gambling. Gives you a lot of encouragement. If you want to share your story, please reach out to me. I would love to have you share your story. The email is linked in the profile page here on YouTube. If anyone wants to share the story, yeah. I get this a lot. Do I think the casinos are rigged? Well, mathematically, every game in the casinos, they're more likely to win than you are. But rigged, like, is there a magnet in the roulette wheel or are they changing the card on the blackjack table? Like, it doesn't have to be rigged for them to win. So I don't think that it's necessarily the case. But rigged in the sense that if you play long enough, you will lose. Absolutely. That's how they've been built. All the games are designed for you to lose. Mm. My only urge to watch gambling content lately is to go see Trainwreck's response to your video. Do you think he will reply? I really don't think so. There's 3,000 views on it, and he's got like a million subscribers, right? Maybe one day. Who knows? We're not a very large channel here at ODAC Gambling Awareness, but if you're here and you're a part of it, like you're here from the ground up. I really appreciate you being here. We're not Mr. Beast, right? We're not making videos about things that millions of people are going to want to watch, but we're making videos that hopefully make a difference. Yes, one of the first videos that I published on the channel, and it's actually the video with the most views on the channel, is me telling my story in a car, and it was about 3 years ago, yeah. I was at a coffee shop, and I just walked out, and I sat in the car, and I started talking, and it's really cool that the barriers to entry for sharing your story online are so low. Like, anyone could do that, right? You can go out in your car right now, film yourself telling your story of gambling, and you can put it online, and it can help people, and I think that's really cool. But yeah, thanks for remembering that. That was one of my earlier videos. Mm, let's see. Have you seen the story about the rat pushing the button, like the electric shock button? I think so, but I'm not positive. Let's see. And if you have any questions about gambling addiction, feel free to drop them. I'm doing my best to keep up with what comes in. If I missed your question, feel free to just ask it again. 90 days for you tomorrow. Congratulations, Chris. And although I still get urges from time to time and have to talk to myself out of it, yeah, that's okay. Like, we can't control when we get a gambling urge. We can only control what we do with it. And so rather than trying to get rid of urges, you don't have to. You need to be prepared for what to do when you have a particular urge. So if you're someone that gets bored and then you want to gamble, think next time I get bored, I will do X. Next time I have too much money sitting around, I will do Y. Next time I'm feeling sad, I will do Z. And then you really begin to build this plan where it becomes pretty mathematical, right? When I feel this, I will do that. And gambling's just not one of the options. Because gambling is like that false temporary solution that really it doesn't actually do anything in the long run for you, but make more problems. What are the statistics of people who can gamble, for example, once a month, but with the intention to stop? I know you mentioned to stop immediately and that it's an excuse to gamble and need to seek help. So there's no statistic on that because that would be very, very difficult to measure. The concept that you might be referring to is called harm reduction, which is can I gamble less? The answer is no. But the way that harm reduction is used is to prove to yourself that the answer is no. So as you mentioned earlier that you've gone from period of sobriety to trying to gamble 100 euros a month. Well, what you'll find is you go over that every month. And then what you're supposed to be proving to yourself is I cannot stick to this budget. This always spirals out of control, with the end goal being giving up gambling completely. I'm not a fan of it. I think it's just extra excuses for people to keep going, to be fair. Let's see. My gambling addiction started when I won big the first time. I thought it could keep winning afterwards. That's unfortunately the story for a lot of us, my friend. I can remember some early wins along the way. And what it does, it creates this flashbulb in your mind where no matter how bad things get, you go, well, that time it was different. And you keep using it as an excuse over and over again. So I know the feeling. Unfortunately, it can get people hooked. Absolutely. Has the HALT concept helped you recognize your needs and find healthier ways to cope in recovery? HALT was it hungry, angry, I don't remember, and then something tired. It's basically like when you're experiencing these like really strong physiological needs, like hunger or being tired, like you might turn to gambling to escape from it. And so recognizing that maybe you're having an urge because of one of these things. I don't like actively think about it, but yes, I actually do with like my anger. Like sometimes I'm like, damn, I'm probably just hungry, like nowadays. But it wasn't too big of a part of my gambling recovery, to be fair. Mm. And again, on the topic of harm reduction, is it better to try to quit in steps? It just doesn't work practically. So no. I'm 100% convinced that, yeah, 100% convinced that it won't be good. Keith says, I'm done gambling. I was in the casino and the fact that I won, but towards the end, I moved from slot to slot until I felt an out of body experience. I was telling myself to stop, but I didn't. It was bad. Yeah. Keith, what you're getting at is like, there's no natural stopping point. There's no they say in the Gamblers Anonymous texts that there's no win that's big enough to satisfy the compulsive gambler. And so what happens is even if we win, we keep going. And eventually gets given back. And then you probably went through a situation where you're like, man, I want to get back to this point. I want to get back to this number, and then I'll stop. Oh, I got back to that number, but now it feels like I've wasted my time. So I need to gamble more to make a profit to justify having been here. It's just endless excuses, right? Like we always have a reason to place that next bet, even though we tell ourselves like, oh, we should stop. And so it's very, very difficult because the addiction plays a lot of tricks on us. And the only way is to just not start in the first place, unfortunately. Love the channel. Thanks, my friend. Do I join face-to-face GA meetings regularly? I will admit it's been a bit for me, but for the first 2 years of my recovery, I went every single week, and I still try to go when I can. The thing is, the meeting that I really liked going to, I don't live near anymore, and I know that's an excuse, but I do a lot of work every single day on gambling addiction, talking about it, and basically having conversations that would mimic the structure of a GA meeting. So though I don't want to just make an excuse and say like I'm good now, I do a lot of recovery based things every day. So I can still get to more meetings. Absolutely. Okay. Let's see. You mentioned all the dirty tactics of casinos to engage and squeeze the players. Have you come across any long form docs and content on the topic? Yes, we made a six-part documentary here on the channel that no one watched, actually. So yes, there's a six-part documentary if you would like to see that called the America's Gambling Epidemic. No one watched it. We worked really hard on it. It actually took a disgustingly large amount of work to get done, and then it was just a big flop. So but that's what it's about, yeah. So if you wanna watch that, that's here on the channel as well. Oh, you got an ad for a class action suit. It is better than what's been showing up in the ads. I had to send Kalshi a cease and desist, which someone published that in the Financial Times that I had sent Kalshi a cease and desist, so that'll forever be online. That's great. But yeah, these businesses have just been running rampant ads on my content, which is about stopping gambling, and I have had to take so much action. So, though I don't know if that lawsuit's a scam or not, at least it's a moving in a positive direction. You know what I mean? Don't know anything about it. Just got back from a GA meeting near me. Been going for 5 weeks now for the first time after gambling for 7 years. Spoke to a few people and they recommend 2 to 3 meetings a week. What are your thoughts? Lewis, it's going to be unique to every single individual person. My sponsor went to a meeting almost every day for the first like 5 years of his recovery. I went once a week and it worked for me. So really it's, are you feeling, how are you feeling outside of the meetings? Do you need more meetings for check-ins? And if you're honest with yourself and the answer is yes, then yeah, 2 to 3 sounds great. If not, maybe it's one. It could be different depending on what you want to do. 16 days, but it's all I think about. Fate that I found your videos. Welcome to the community, Mary. And it's okay to think about gambling, especially as soon as you give it up. I mean, if you think about it, right, it's something that you were probably doing every day. It's probably something that you love to do. But I'm proud of you that you've recognized that the consequences are outweighing the positives. And it's okay to think about it. It's just, how can we channel those into a more viable mean of living? So if you're like, man, I'm feeling really bored. I wish I could gamble right now. Well, come up with a list of things to do when you're bored. So if the next time you get that feeling, you have an answer for it. Man, I'm feeling really tired right now. I would love to unwind with some gambling. Well, think of another thing that you could do to unwind, right? So it's okay to think about it. It's okay to get an urge, but it's not okay to act on those urges. So make sure you're coming up with ways to keep yourself happy and healthy along the way. Let's see. Oh God, I keep wanting to sports gamble because I feel like it's easy money. It's not, but what else can I say to properly convince you of that? Remember that all wins are future losses. Once you start, you won't stop. So eventually, you will end up losing the money. But feel free to come back whenever you are ready to finally stop. Hopefully, the content can be helpful. But sports betting is gambling, just like anything else. Kind of on the same topic. I'm managing my gambling better. I don't chase anymore like I used to. Do you think I should just flat out stop, or if I can do it casually? I don't believe that you'll be able to sustain doing it casually, but me telling you that isn't going to solve the problem, right? You have to reach these kinds of conclusions yourself. If I tell you to stop gambling, then you'll blame me when you see that the team that you would have gambled on won, right? But the reality is, eventually, it'll spiral out of control the same way. Once a gambling addict, always a gambling addict, and it's not my belief that we can learn to play responsibly. It's just not. So take that as you will. But if you ever do want to, stick to fully stopping, hopefully the channel can be helpful. Mm. You don't have an edge. I can confidently tell you that you do not. If you had an edge, you wouldn't be allowed to bet on that sports book. Like you don't have an edge. No one has an edge in sports betting. You're lying to yourself. What's the closest I ever got to a relapse? How did I stop it? I think the closest I ever got, I mean, I relapsed many, many times. Like, guys, don't think like I just decided one day, oh, I'm never going to gamble again. And then it was a great success. It took years of going through the ups and downs and like kind of learning through my own experience. But since the last day that I gambled now, the closest that I got to a relapse was probably the Super Bowl where the Eagles played the Chiefs. And it was because I had a party at my house and there was 20 people all gambling on the game. We live in Philly. And so it was a big deal. I was able to not gamble. And the way that I kind of stopped it was by recognizing that, like, even if I won, which I wouldn't have, uh, I wasn't going to stop. They were going to go home, win or lose, and, not gamble again. If I did that, I would have been then looking for some kind of NBA game or NHL game or whatever later on in the night, gambling again, and I wasn't going to stop. So I realized that all wins are future losses. So it doesn't matter if you win. Um, and that really helped me. Jackson, much appreciated. Yeah, if you hit me up with a brief description, would you email it over to me? If you email it over to me, yeah, let's get it going. I would love to have anyone that wants to share their story of addiction. You were blessed to get out before crypto casinos, endless supply of providers paired with extremely difficult self-exclusion processes. Something needs to be done about them ASAP. I did not get out before crypto casinos. In fact, I lost a lot of money on pragmatic play slot machines online. But I totally agree with you. These casinos, they're not regulated at all. The ones that are regulated really are dirtbags as well, but they just have a few more rules on them. So it's not a good process. That's why something like a Gamban can be useful to help put some distance between you and the bet. But if you want to gamble, the truth is you're going to always be able to do it. There's too many options, there's too much access to it. So all you can do is make it more difficult so that when you have an urge, you can kind of surf that urge and say, look, I feel like gambling, but I'll do it an hour from now. Then during that hour, think, do I actually want to gamble or am I feeling something else? And what is it that I'm feeling? Like start to think through it before you make the decision, and you'll find that you don't really want to do it. It's just that temporary urge. Kathy, much love. Thank you for being here. I do my best to put out content that I think can help people. If you're someone that wants to stop gambling or you know someone that should stop gambling, then subscribe to the channel and hopefully you can get some value out of my experience. It's been over a month and I'm itching to play slots. Jody, why? Tell me, why are you itching to play slots? What about them is drawing you back in? Let's work through it. When I was in South Africa, I went to 50 meetings in 185 days, but you only have one meeting a week. I do my best to make online meetings. Yeah, you just do your best, right? You piece together what works for you and you figure out, like, am I feeling good about what I'm doing? Am I feeling like I'm making progress in my recovery? Yeah, the movies where they convince you to count cards, it's just like big time propaganda. You're not going to figure it out, and if you do, you're just going to get banned anyway. Mm, let's see. Okay. Do you think when you sign up for an online casino, at first they let you win big to get addicted, and then once addicted, they take it all back plus some? Most of the time, the answer is just no. It just comes down to like dumb luck. I mean, most bets, there's not a giant house edge. So in the short term, you can definitely have some wins, but over the long run, you always lose. Then there's like scam casinos where this actually does happen. I remember seeing something about, was it FaZe Clan when they had a casino and they were actually like programming the machines to do this. So yes, sometimes, but I would say most of the time, no. Those DraftKings ads are extremely good at getting people on the hook with offers of bonus bets. Yes, on the hook is a great way of saying it. They are bait on the end of a fishing hook, and they're getting you, and then they're going to squeeze you for everything that you're worth. Gamble responsibly is a giant hoax marketing slogan. Absolutely. I'm working on a video right now called The Problem with Responsible Gambling, which I think is bullshit. All it is just corporate cop out, right? They're able to say, look, we tried to tell him to gamble responsibly. It's not our fault that he didn't gamble responsibly. We just gave him a bunch of free money and free play and kept sending him messages to come back. But like we told him gamble responsibly, right? It's just a half-assed cop out is what it is. But that's the system that we got. And why should we expect it to be any different? It would mean that they would make less money. Why would they want to make less money as the casino, you know? Mhm. There is a Discord group from Gamban that is just kind of in the beginning of forming. It's tagged. Oh, actually, it's not yet tagged. It's going to be tagged on the podcast that I'm going to put out tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. Small price. Jody, the reason that you're feeling tempted to gamble is because you've won a few jackpots, but then you say that it costs a lot to get them. Remember that the sum of what you make will always be less than what you've bet. You will always end up losing in the end. All wins are future losses. What have you done with the jackpot money in the past? Did you actually use it for good things? And if you did, how long was it before you ended up in a worse situation because you kept going? It seems like most people don't understand the hard statistics. I think that it's an interesting point because I think that in the beginning you can definitely have a misunderstanding of it. But I would say that at some point in the middle of my addiction, like I knew the odds of the games. I had spent so much time around them. I was reading so much about gambling in general that I knew the odds. It's just that you don't care. You think either you think you're going to be the exception to the rule, or the benefits that you perceive to be getting from gambling outweigh the losses that you'll incur. And so for me, I thought I was going to be the exception to the rule. Other people might think like, oh, it's actually just not even about winning and losing. It's about staying in action because that's what gives you that hit of dopamine, that thrill. there can be a lack of understanding, especially at first, but I think over time, it's really just about like the addiction is not about winning and losing. I think most people, if they're honest, know that they're supposed to lose. You know. And again, this idea of watching gambling content online, keeping you out of a casino. I mean, guys, it's not good for you. It's going to cause more problems than benefits. It's just really hard to see that because it might be better than what you were doing before. But it's like switching from I don't know what's worse, cigarettes to vaping. Like it's still the same process in your brain, and it's not allowing you the space to heal. That's a bad comparison because it's not quite that bad, but I hope that you get what I'm trying to say. Like it doesn't allow your brain to readjust the dopamine levels to the point that you'll find pleasure in smaller things in life again. Gambling is something I never thought I would become addicted. Or no, hold on. Gambling is something I never thought I would become. I would never get addicted. I always told myself that it could never be me until it was. Absolutely. I think a lot of people think that way, especially gamblers, because we have big egos and we think we're invincible and the rules don't really apply to us. And, I still struggle with that from time to time, but no longer with the gambling itself. The truth is, anyone can develop a gambling addiction. It can happen really fast. If you feel urges to go back, don't try to avoid them. You're not going to avoid them. What you need to do is have an answer to each urge planned ahead of time. So when you have those urges, Romania, Romania, when you have those urges, what are the feelings that you have? Write them in the chat. Like, what are your gambling urges? Let's talk about them and how to respond to them. Thanks for being here, Ed. Day 37 for you. Attended GA in the past, but haven't been to a meeting yet this time around. Questioning if you need to include GA to somehow validate my recovery. Validate wouldn't be the correct way of looking at it. I think that having a group to be accountable to strengthens your recovery beyond measure. It's not that your recovery doesn't count if you don't go to GA meetings, but if you're looking to really sustain it, being accountable to someone that's not just yourself, it really will make a huge impact. That's what I think. Mm, Let's see. Due for a win is the worst lie. I mean, yeah, it's statistics, right? Every single bet is independent of others. You're not due for anything. Any tips for alcohol and gambling mix? Preferably do neither if you're trying to stop gambling and/or drinking. The best tip I could give on it. Let's see. Mm. I find myself telling myself that the new games will be fun and stuff. How do I turn off that fix it for yourself? Well, what's happened every single time that you've done that? And I'm not saying that the games might not be fun, but like, do you stop? Have you done it responsibly? No, you don't learn responsible gambling. So if you go back and do the same thing, you have to expect that it's going to end the same way. So telling yourself that all wins are future losses is, I think, the solution in your case. If you go and you play the game and it might be fun, you're still going to go broke eventually by continuing to do it. Thank you for the love, my friend. I appreciate it. We get lots of comments on YouTube and TikTok, some good, some bad. At the end of the day, I just hope that you guys can learn from my mistakes and my experience and hopefully make better decisions. That's the entire point of making the content here on the channel, and being subscribed is the number one way that you can support us. Appreciate you guys. Mm, Let's see. Number one thing that you did to help you quit gambling. So I did four things. Why? It was finding alternative things to do with my time that meant something to me, gave me a sense of purpose, which was making this content. Second was limiting access to money that was tempting me to gamble by having someone control the bank account. Third was self-excluding to make it more difficult to access the gambling. And fourth was going to support group meetings. If you actually check the description of this video, there's a link there to a video I made called How to Stop Gambling. Go and check that one out. It walks you literally through everything that I've done to get and stay clean since November of 2022. I'm sorry to hear this, my friend. Advice is get back on the recovery horse. Like, the bad shit's happened. You can't change it. Get back to a group meeting and work through the things that are in that video. I'm sorry to hear that it's happened. I think that gambling addiction might be one of the worst addictions in the world. It's I don't have any other addictions, so I can't compare it. But what makes gambling addiction particularly dangerous is I think it's the only addiction where you would basically find the addict saying that the solution to the addiction is more of the addiction. Like if an alcoholic was really struggling, like no matter the depths of that addiction, I don't think that they would think Having one bottle of vodka is going to solve all of the 10 years of problems that I've created in my life. But a gambling addict might think that after they have a big enough win that everyone will forgive them and that life can be okay again. That's really dangerous, right? It's not true, but it's like the only addiction where you trick yourself into thinking that, which could make it the worst by like that measurement, I guess. What is the best aspect of your life now that you don't gamble? I mean, here's the thing, guys. Like, you probably expect me to be selling like recovery is the best. Life is amazing without gambling. Sometimes life sucks. Genuinely, it does suck sometimes. The difference is that now without the gambling, I actually know whether life is good or bad on any given day because I'm actually experiencing the day. And so it's not even like what's the best aspect of my life. It's like I have my life now. Whereas before, life was just passively happening while I was gambling and I wasn't present in any moment. I didn't care about anything. So it was kind of like a difficult question. I hope that was a decent answer. Do you have any thoughts on sports cards and trading cards and the movement to participate in breaks? It's gambling. There's someone that makes content called Collectors MD, and he talks about this as well. It's gambling. Gambling, by the definition in Gamblers Anonymous, is any betting or wagering for self or others, whether for money or not, no matter how slight or insignificant, where the outcome is uncertain or depends upon chance or skill. This depends upon chance, and thus would fall under the category of gambling. Gambling feels like you're one hit away from becoming financially free. That's the trap. Because, yeah, say you get a big win, like you're still not going to stop because now you're going to say, well, I'm up money so I can gamble just a little bit for fun. Then you're going to be like, well, I want to get that back. Whoa, I lost a little bit too much. Wait, I need to go get that back. Oh my God, I lost everything. How did this happen? Now I need to get more money because I need to get back to where I was, and yada, yada, yada. We end up in bad positions. I did not know that CS stopped selling cases and keys. I'll have to ask my guys about them. Um, yeah, I'll have to find out more about that. I had no one to turn to, and then I found your channel. Well, thanks for being here. I'm glad that you found the channel. I hope that it can continue being of use to you in your recovery journey, but don't feel like you have no one to turn to. If you go to a group meeting, you're immediately going to find a fellowship of people who are trying to stop gambling as well. So you're not alone no matter your situation. It's just you can be alone until you seek out the comfort of, or not the comfort, the company of others. No, I don't. So for those that don't know, this is a type of gambling where you bet both sides, and what actually happens is you just get banned from the sports books anyway. If you're asking me, is X a way to make money? Is Y a way to sustainably make money? The answer is going to be no, because you wouldn't ask the question if you knew that the answer was yes. You're only asking the question because you think that it might be a problem, and now I am confirming it, so I can be the bad guy instead of you. Let's see. How often do you do these live sessions? I try to do it once a week. What's the podcast name? It's called ODAT Gambling Awareness, same as the channel here. It should be on Apple. Yeah, I use like a podcast aggregator, but also all of the episodes are here on YouTube. This is my main platform where I really try to reach people. So if you want to support the channel, of course, just being subscribed is like quite literally the number one way that you can do it. Let's see. Any advice on how to examine and learn from relapse? This is interesting. I mean, practically, what I would do, I guess, is kind of like write out what happened, figure out what were the triggers or urges that sent you back, and then identify what could have been a different path to have taken. So, don't beat yourself up because you did it, but figure out what it was that made you do it and what you'll do the next time that you feel that way, if that helps. I think that was the answer to the question. The YouTubers glamorizing it, making people more prone to becoming addicted. Yes, and the thing is, they don't. The thing is, like with these YouTube like gambling streamers, they will be like, "Don't gamble, don't gamble," and then they're like smashing the key to keep gambling, and they're like, "Well, if you do want to gamble, you can sign up right here." It's just such a fucked up situation where everyone is telling you that it's fine to gamble, basically, and if they're not, it's like a half-assed, like, "Oh yeah, don't do it, bro. Like, don't do it, but like, do it." It's terrible. Let's see. Are there any movies where the loser is a gambler or like anything that shows non-romanticized gambling the way that Leaving Las Vegas does to alcoholism? So I haven't seen Leaving Las Vegas. There's two movies that I liked that really showed the depth of the gambling addiction. I don't think it was romanticized by the end of the movie. Uncut Gems and Owning Mahoney, I would say, were the two that really did their best. I did see Arizona suing Kalshi. My team and I are working on like a big documentary type episode about prediction markets because I just think it's going to be such a big topic. So hopefully we find an angle for that that's unique and it'll be something that you guys want to watch. The best way to defeat gambling is never start. I mean, that's exactly what sobriety is about, right? Like we can win a bet, but we can't win the bets. And if we keep going, it's eventually going to end the same way. So it's the first bet is the one to avoid, even though it may be as little as matching for a cup of coffee. Now I'm just quoting the Gamblers Anonymous book, which I haven't been to a meeting in a bit. So credit to me for like remembering this stuff word for word. My hair's fucked. I need a haircut. Okay. If you guys have questions about gambling, gambling addiction, addiction recovery, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm going to do a quick plug. In this, the description of this video is a link to Right Choice Recovery. It's a family-owned and operated treatment center specializing in gambling treatment. If you or a loved one needs some help, check them out, especially if you're in the United States. I'll be here every week. Feels like therapy. Whatever it feels like, I'm glad as long as it's a positive outcome. You know, like whether it's good or it's like you just show up to giggle, like it doesn't really matter to me. As long as people are getting benefit out of this, I'm going to keep doing it. So thank you for the feedback. I look forward to seeing you again. Do I think gambling is our generation's version of smoking cigarettes? I do think that's a decent comparison. I'd go further though, and I'd say it's our generation's like oxy. Like I think it's really, really bad. I think it's going to be the worst epidemic of addiction that the country's ever seen by sheer volume of people involved. Yeah, potential big win. So Central Coast, finish the story, right? All right, you go back, you get a big win, then what happens? Then you don't gamble ever again? Like, do you believe that? I don't believe that. So if you go back and you get that big win, but you keep going and you don't stop, what happens in the end? It's not about, oh my God, I'm never gonna get a big win again. It's, oh my God, it doesn't matter if I win because eventually I'm going to give that back, you know? In your journey, did you discover any of your friends were down just as bad as you were? I didn't find anyone was as bad as me, but I definitely had some people in my life that were hooked to gambling. But I felt like I was a little bit further down the path than some people. So I didn't get a lot of the experience of seeing someone else doing something that was gambling addiction and like seeing it in someone else. So I had to kind of find it in myself, which was more difficult. Um, I lost the train of thought that I was on there, but I really didn't see anyone. That's why I felt like I was the only person on earth that had it this bad until I started to get to meetings and then learn from the experience of others. So I actually felt pretty alone. Take it from a guy who hit a max win and then went and gave it back within like a month. It never pays off. All wins are future losses. Doesn't matter how big it is. And then I tried to play no 1-2 no limit after crashing out on slots. So trying to play a game that you thought this is a poker game, play a game that they thought was better or less addictive maybe, and then ending up eventually spiraling. This is the path, right? So a lot of times someone will say, "Hey Rob, I have a roulette problem, so I'm going to only do sports betting and it'll be better." The issue is that it's the same process in the brain. It's just going to play out wherever you spend more time, which is difficult for people to understand, right? You might feel like, man, I lose control on the slots, but I'm fine with the sports betting. But it's because you're spending 80% of your time on the slots and 20% on the sports betting. So when you start spending 80% on the sports betting, you're going to be like, wow, this is a problem too. Go figure. That's just the reality of it. It's all the same exact thing. You sucked in poker, horrible poker face. Well, everyone sucks at gambling, so that is what it is. Welcome to the chat, my friend. I'm happy that you're here. Hopefully, one day you can get some benefit out of the content here on the channel. But until that point, just keep coming back. It still makes me happy that you're here. Do you ever consider yourself unlucky to have started gambling at such a young age so seriously, or do you consider it lucky because you found your passion in helping others using your experience? Um, hmm. I'm not particularly lucky or happy that I got a gambling addiction, but I'm proud that I was able to use it in a way that's creating a positive outcome for someone else. So it's a difficult question to answer. I would prefer to have not had it. I think I would have found my passion through some other means, maybe in a similar capacity. But I'm very happy to have been able to use it in a positive way. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's life's all right. I don't know everything at all. In fact, many, many things that I do not know. It's just that I've spent the last 3.5 years thinking about and daily talking about this addiction. And I know my own experience, and I've answered a lot of the questions that people have asked already. So I know my experience in answering those questions. So I don't know everything, but this is my domain, so to speak, that I'm comfortable in. I don't really follow Boss Man on a day to day. We'll probably make a follow up video if he ends up doing some more fucked up shit. How many of the hate watchers are gambling addicts still in denial? This exact thought is why I stopped fighting with people online. In the beginning, I would get upset when people would leave comments, right? Because we didn't get that many comments, and I'd be like, "Why does everyone hate this? It's not worth the time. Why is this happening?" What I realized is that when you make videos about not gambling, about how gambling can be addictive, you're directly challenging the beliefs of people that want you desperately to be wrong. And so, are they gambling addicts in denial? Maybe, but what they are gamblers. And eventually, if they keep going, they may very well develop a problem. And I want them to be able to come back. But if I'm the first person that they're seeing online that's saying this might be a bad thing, then the obvious reaction is, well, he must be wrong. Rob must be the gambling addict, the loser, and I'm okay. And that's the reaction that I would have had if I saw this kind of content during my gambling. So I keep going. I try not to fight with them because at the end of the day, they might come back, and you'd be shocked to see the Instagram DMs of people that say, I thought you were a loser a month ago, and yet now here we are. And that's how it goes. Oops. These pragmatic games with presenters that imitate socializing is so addictive. Yeah. To be honest, a lot of the reason that people gamble is because it presents itself as a cheap and easy solution to feeling behind financially, not having a community, not having a support system, not having anything to do that gives you a sense of meaning or purpose. It's this cheap alternative that ends up being not very cheap. But yes, it's all programmed very intentionally to take advantage of that feeling. Thank you for this comment, my friend. I do hope that it can help some people out. Can you recommend your top 3 interviews I should watch? New to the channel, I love the shorts. Thanks for I didn't know anyone watched the shorts, so thanks for watching them. Um, it's interesting because you say, like, what are the top 3? Everyone's story is pretty unique. I think that some people are just a little bit more effective at communicating their story. It's not necessarily that anyone's story is more valuable than someone else's, but in terms of, like, value taken away from the video, I would check out the one with Ben Yu. That's I stole 500K to fuel my gambling addiction, I believe it's called. I would check out one of the ones with Christina. So that's Christina Cook. If you go to the podcast and you sort it by most viewed, I think she's number 1 and 2. So you'll find her pretty easily. And then getting a good mix, I would check out one of maybe someone who's a loved one of a gambler, a wife of a gambler, a husband. We didn't actually have any husbands of gamblers yet. Check out one of them just to get, like, the full breadth if you're looking for 3, like, unique ones. Hate watchers be like, "We're gonna go roast Rob, but first, watch me hit this rain bet." Yeah, we get lots of goofs. What did someone call someone one time called me in, high school a goonie bop. I don't even know what that meant, but it feels accurate to a lot of the comments that we get. I always won but couldn't walk away and then lost. All wins are future losses. That's just the reality of it. Do you ever think of how big you can get years down the line? You could become the face of this movement. If I'm the face of it, I'm the face of it. But really, I just want to keep pumping out stories. For those of you that have been around here for a while, like, this page used to be called Rob Odat. That's why it's my email still. About a year and a half into it, I realized that it was stupid to make it solely about me. And that's why we now have 125 interviews on the channel, 126, something like that. And that's why we rebranded to ODAC Gambling Awareness. So happy to be involved and happy to be the face if need be. But there's so many stories that, like, it's actually just overwhelming at this point. And I hope that the brand ODAC can become a pioneer in the space. It does. My face is just the face that's hosting the show. Could really be done by anyone. Yeah, Rich Galgano's story also was very cool. So he, what was his called? From Gambling Addict to Multimillionaire. It felt like if anyone watches like the Wojak cartoons, it felt like we titled it like that, but like whatever. It ended up reaching people. So that's good. Recently found the channel. Welcome, my friend. Love everything you do. Thank you. I had my own problem for a few years. Best decision I made was telling my spouse I'm betting for the last time with her help on October 2nd, 2023. Congratulations, my friend. That's awesome to hear. I love when people come on and they share how long it's been since their last bet. Gives me some motivation to know that, I'm not just speaking to a wall, that there's people that are really getting better out there. And so congratulations on that. And, if you ever want to share your story, please reach out to me. Would love to have you on. If you find yourself continuously going back to gambling, then check out the video that's linked in the description. It dives through exactly what I did to stop gambling and stay clean since November the 12th, 2022. The 4 things that I focus on in that video were finding alternatives for my time that meant something to me, gave me a sense of purpose, limiting my access to money that was tempting me to gamble by having someone control the bank account, self-excluding from the casinos to make it more difficult to access, and 4th was going to support group meetings. Those 4 things together made a huge, huge difference. Let's see. Do I think a gambling addiction can be treated with medication at some point, like smoking? Well, currently the answer is no, but who knows? I've seen like conspiracy theories that like Ozempic can help you stop gambling. Of course, that's a conspiracy and not substantiated by any means. But who knows what medicine's going to look like in a couple of years, right? I do like seeing stories of people who like become very financially successful after gambling because it's so like counterintuitive to the mind of the gambling addict. It's like I can only get rich from gambling is what we tell ourselves, and then we see people actually succeed without the gambling. It's very inspiring. But I've heard a lot of people say the cliche of like everything I wanted in life from gambling, I got from not gambling. And that's I feel like pretty accurate to his story. Difference between gambling and a gambling problem. If you go into the description of this video, there's 20 questions listed by a group called Gamblers Anonymous. If you answer yes to 7 or more of the 20, then it's said that you have a gambling problem. I would say it's pretty obvious if you're honest with yourself. And it's that like when you have a gambling problem, you're losing sleep over it, you're borrowing money to gamble, you're lying about it, hiding it from others. It's not just like a little thing that you're doing for fun. It's like an all-consuming, just this all-consuming. Oh. Thanks for joining the membership, my friend. All that is just a way of saying thank you. There's nothing behind a paywall here on the channel, but I appreciate you doing that nonetheless. Thank you. Thanks for being here, my friend. I hope to see you again. And thank you for the compliment. Let's see. Would I consider making a video comparing gambling bans and self-exclusion programs in different countries? It'd be fascinating to see how approaches vary around the world. Monica, you are in a small minority of people that would be interested in that, but myself would be included. So I actually went to college, and for some reason, I don't use that degree, but my degree was in anthropology. And so I've always been very interested in comparing different things between different cultures around the world. What I found in making the documentary that we were talking about a little bit earlier, the one that's on the channel, it's a 6-part documentary about the spread of gambling addiction, is that people didn't really care. What people want to see, according to the data here on the channel, is they want stories of people in recovery, and they want stories of or they want videos on how to stop gambling. That's really it. And so I would love to do this if it was talking specifically about how different people in different countries went through their gambling and their recovery. It would have to be framed as a story, if that makes sense. But it would be pretty fun. I would be interested in it, to be fair. Everyone in here will get better or we wouldn't be here. Try to forget the losses and focus on what we can save up to leave behind for our families. Not even leave behind for your families, but enjoy in your life, you know? Like we think that without gambling, that's it. But the reality is that once we stop gambling, we actually can start living. And I do believe that everyone can get better. If you want to stop gambling, there's all the resources that you need here and around the internet. And hopefully you're able to do it. I believe that you can. Let's see. I really haven't found myself getting close to relapsing in like the last year or two. And the reason is because I'm just so disgusted with what the gambling industry has done. The reality is I'm pretty sick of seeing them, and it helps me to stay away from gambling. But if you get close to relapse, just think, what are the things that triggered me to feel this way, and what can I do to adapt or see them or next time I feel this, what can I do going forward? To someone that's saying, "Hey, bro, I'm on this gambling addiction live, and I'm telling you how much money that I won. Congrats! Really hope that you keep it and never gamble again. But when you do go back and eventually lose the money, just know that this page is always here for you. I could fight with you. I could argue that it's a bad thing, but I'm not here to make decisions for you. I'm here to supply you with resources if you ever do want to get better. So, if you're someone that wants to stop gambling, this is the exact page for you. Thank you all for being here. We've hit that 1 hour mark and I'm getting sleepy. So I'm going to be wrapping it up. But if you're interested in the content, please subscribe to the channel. We're going to be live again next week. And hopefully you'll come back and join for another one. So hope that everyone has a great night. Thank you for being here. Thanks for asking all the questions that you did. And of course, we always do our sign off here on the channel to keep it getting, and we're butchering the sign off that we always do on the channel. So it looks like we've never done it before. We keep getting better together one day at a